I'm Jason.
I'm Tia.
And welcome to Affinity War.
Wait, hold on. Is everybody's phone on silent?
No, mine is very much on a loud ass vibrate.
Do not disturb.
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Affinity War. So in today's episode, we decided that hey, the new Affinity Jazzmaster came out and it is very similar to the American Performer Jazzmaster. So we would like to do a quick first impression, or a quick take on them as you will, onto the specs.
First off, we have the American Performer. It is pretty much the least expensive American-made Jazzmaster you can get from Fender. It does not come with a hard shell case. Keep in mind, it will come with a gig bag. It is made of an older body. It has the Yosemite voiced pickups, along with the vintage Strat style tremolo. So notice you don't have that classic Jazzmaster, big giant trim. Just, it's gonna be like a Strat, more or less. Also has the grease bucket tone circuit system for your pots. And last but not least, it's got the classic style tuners. No locking, it's not like anything you'd see on the old professionals.
Yeah. And two things to note on that, if you're unaware, the American Performer line replaced the American Special.
Yeah.
There was an American Special Jazzmaster prior to this. However, that had a stop tail, and that would be pretty cool to review at some point if they're not crazy expensive. Now on to the specs as far as the Affinity Jazzmaster. New for 2021 is the Squier Affinity Jazzmaster. We have this one in Lake Placid Blue. It has a thin and light poplar body. It has a modern 2-point trim system. And it has the Squier voiced by Fender single coil Jazzmaster pickups, and it has a split shaft tuning machine right there. That's right there, right there. Check out them the split shaft tuning machines.
I hear the word split shaft and I think of like a hot dog in a microwave.
Oh god. Also, like Tia said, these are more of a Strat take on the Jazzmaster. This is now the most affordable Jazzmaster that you can purchase from Fender/Squier. One other difference to note, the pickups. They are going to be a bit different from each other to dispel a rumor that this is probably just going to be an inexpensive version of this. This is more in line with the Squier Jazzmaster's Jazzmaster, where they're both voiced like P90s. If you look at the pole position on the pickups, they are more like P90s on the Affinity and the Squier Jazzmasters. Whereas with the American Performer, these are going to be more in line with a Strat pickup, if you will. They kind of have those pole positions, so they're not going to be a traditional Jazzmaster pickup. But we'll get more to that. We'll get more into that when we discuss our opinions. So, on to the sound. That was the neck pickup. Now we're gonna go to middle position. This is the story of a bridge pickup. So I'm just gonna let Tia. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It's fine. Don't hurt my baby. Sorry. I tune down. She tunes up.
No, I say in standard.
Well, technically, from my perspective.
I mean, yeah, but it's not like
from a certain point
it's
of
not like
view.
I'm like tuning up from standard.
From a certain point of view.
Something society.
From a certain point of view.
Technically, if we're playing jazz, essentially Jazzmasters, then there is no right or wrong.
I'm just tuning.
You're just tuning.
That is so ice picky.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the people at home, we do have a couple pedals. I just turned on the Way Huge Green Rhino Fuzz. So I started on the bridge. I'm now doing both pickups. And I also turned on reverb from UA. This is the Golden Reverberator pedal by UA. So onto
The American performer.
American.
You have a pick on you? I'm gonna just go ahead and thank you. Just go ahead and
I
get
put
this.
that in my mouth. It's a bad habit, I know.
It's fine. So we know. Does it blues lawyer rock? No. Does it dad rock? Yes. It does blues lawyer rock.
It does blues dad lawyer.
Yeah, blues dad lawyer rock. That's that. Yeah, it does that. So, I guess I should get this one out of the way. So yeah, I guess let Tia have a gander.
Okay, so this is the American Performer. We already know that. I don't know what I'm talking. I'm starting on the bridge position. That is spanky.
Yep.
I don't know if it's just like a single coil thing, but like I have yet to play a guitar with single coils in the bridge position that I liked. And that goes for my Strat and my Jazzmaster.
Telly's for me. Those are
I like the Telly bridge. I don't have a Telly,
Eh,
so
I don't have a Strat.
I am now playing with both pickups on. And I'm gonna stop while I'm ahead. So, going back home, neck position. think that's it.
All right, on to the final thoughts. This was Tia's first impression with both. So I'm going to let Tia go first because I've kind of already formulated my thoughts.
Okay.
And I've been holding off not saying a thing opinion wise about either of these to Tia.
Okay.
Just definitely put her on the spot.
I mean, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall, I mean, they're both really solid instruments. I will say, I did say it earlier, I have yet to play a guitar, aside from a Telecaster, with single coil pickups that I like in the bridge position. I didn't dislike this one more than the Affinity, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not saying I liked it, but if it came down between the two, I definitely prefer this one. That one, like I said, while playing it, it's just very, very ice picky. Like, it was harsh. And so I don't know if I mentioned it while playing it, but at some points I did roll back the tone to try to kind of negate some of that. Overall, I mean, if we're going by like sound and by feel, they both feel really, really good. I was actually a bit surprised by how good that felt for a Squier. Like the neck was just super, super playable. A little dry, but I mean, that's an easy fix.
Yeah.
You know, when you get a new guitar, it should be the first thing you do is take off the strings, condition it, set it up, really make it your own. But these are basically just straight out of the box with factory strings and factory setups.
Yeah, we haven't touched these. I normally restring with 10 to 52s.
God.
I know. Tia hates it. But I was like, for this, I was like, I'm going to make an exception.
Just keep it stock.
Yep, keep it stock as possible.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So I feel like with that, you kind of got at least I got the driest run through of these possible. I mean, weight-wise, sound-wise, feel-wise, they were both really, really good. With the American Performer, I like it, but I don't love it. So I couldn't imagine dropping the amount of money on this. Like, I mean, it's a great guitar, so if you're looking for something that's like I don't want to say a hybrid between a Strat and a Jazzmaster, but if you want the Jazzmaster body and look, but you are used to playing Strats, I think that this would not be a far reach for you.
I've got some thoughts, and I don't want to interrupt you. Keep going.
Okay, all right. You're not going to change my mind.
No, I'm not going to change your mind at all. So I guess now I'm interrupting.
Yeah, no, it's a conversation.
Yeah, it's a conversation. Yeah, this is how we talk. Like,
who's we?
This is just how I talk. I just interrupt everybody, or I just sit quietly and no one pays attention to me.
I mean, that's me all the time.
Yeah, that's why we're friends.
Yeah, we both sit in the corner quietly, being ignored.
Yeah.
Dark emotional.
My first question, because this is another video that I wanted to do that we may do, discussing a traditional Jazzmaster versus a non-traditional Jazzmaster. So I'm not going to go too much into that, but I will say with both of these being fairly priced, and this is like 5 times the cost of this one, I believe.
Yeah.
And maybe 4 times. I don't know. I'm not good with math right now because I'm hungry as but I will say this. I was reading online and, you know, there were a couple of people who didn't really care for the Yosemite pickups. So I was kind of already influenced not to like them. But I was surprised. I actually like them a lot. Like, I like them a lot more than the Ultra pickups. It definitely sits more like in the Japanese Jazzmaster range where it's more Strat-like, between a Strat and a Jazzmaster, which I guess this guitar is, you know, that's its thing. You know, it's definitely not going to sound like the pure vintage Jazzmaster pickups. Now we're going on to the Affinity and my thoughts on that. For $280, I don't think this is a bad Jazzmaster. I think someone can correct me if I'm wrong. If someone who ever gets one of these and like takes out the pickups, just for my peace of mind, are these the exact same pickups that are in a J-Mascus? Because I don't feel like they are, because they're very ice picky.
I feel like they can't be.
No, but outside of that, I was pleasantly surprised. Like, I'm not a Jazzmaster purist, so I can look at different Jazzmasters and kind of see where Fender was going with releasing them. And I get it. The neck feels good. I'm with Tia though. This is a little dry, you know, straight out of the box. But for, again, $280, what can you expect? It exceeds the expectations of that.
Like, not to interrupt you, but I've seen plenty of Gibsons come out of the box that are just dry as a bone.
Yeah.
So again, I don't think it's really a thing of money. It's just one of those kind of first things you do with a guitar.
Yeah.
You know?
Overall, playing wise, I've pleasantly been surprised by the new Affinity series. There is a new Affinity Telecaster, and I kind of want to buy one just so we can review it, because that, now I'm going on a tangent, but like all of that to say that the new Affinity series is a home run. Like
Okay.
I think it's a home run. With that said, the question becomes, what kind of Jazzmaster do you want? If you want one that is vintage correct, then obviously the classic vibe is going to be where you go. If you want one that kind of sits in between a traditional versus non-traditional, the Jazzmaster is going to be where you go. Because I was surprised, like I said, I was prepared to not like the Performer, and I was like, well, I can typically look past like the Trem, because like no one, I'm not going to say no one, yeah, no one cared that the American Special came with a stop tail except vintage purists, and like the pickups were essentially just stacked humbuckers like in there. So for me, when I approached that, knowing that it's a replacement for that, it was like it's a non-issue, because I mean, I did want a wiggle stick and we got a wiggle stick. However, I don't like the Strat style wiggle sticks. Like that's just been my thing. That one just feels a bit like tight.
So I guess this is one of those areas where we'll have to, I guess, agree to disagree,
Yeah.
because playing this, and I don't think we got it on film, but like beforehand when I did kind of use the trim, I felt just fine with it.
I prefer the Jazzmaster trim. Like I just like the Jazzmaster, or like even a Mastery trim. Like they just feel loose, and like I guess because again, like if you don't know, I don't own a Strat, so I'm not used to.
Yeah, obviously I do,
Yeah.
and I go back and forth between my Strat and my Jazzmaster, and I mean, obviously both trims have a very different feel.
Yeah.
So I may just already be used to this, so to me it's like a non-issue.
Yeah, overall, I think both are a really good purchase. I think if you want a traditional Jazzmaster, you can save yourself a couple $100 if you're buying brand new and buy the Vintera, which we did a review on that. If you want a non-traditional Jazzmaster and you want to go the used route and you want American made, that's the way to go. Because new, I think these are going for $12.99 new.
Yeah, there was just a price increase.
Yeah, there was just a price increase. We may be wrong on that, which we can admit because we're adults. Also, the penny finish, which is absolutely gorgeous in person, they don't make that anymore, so you have to buy it used. And fortunately, the American Performer on the used market has not seen an insane price hike, so you can get it anywhere from like $7 on the low, extremely low, to $1,000, which isn't bad because the American Special is still up there. This then is new for 2021, so prices are still $280. Don't know what they'll be on the used market. I know as far as finishes go, going back to that, there is that. There is a...
There's that Lake Placid blue,
Yeah,
but it's like a matte finish.
Yeah,
so you're not going to get this shiny gloss, keep in mind.
And then there's the worn vintage white, and I think there's a sunburst. I mean, there's a sunburst in damn near everything except for this. It is only burgundy mist, which is one of my favorite
color.
colors.
Great color.
And Lake Placid blue, which I'm okay with. I can live without it, but I prefer a dark night. So with all of that said, if you're thinking of getting a Jazzmaster and you want something that isn't vintage correct, you don't care for all of those, these are great Jazzmasters. So with all of that said, I've been one of your hosts for today, Jason.
And I'm Tia.
And thank you for tuning in to Working Class Music. See you next week.